Typical how everyone starts, the little bucket with a little can of extract and the dried yeast that it came with, and here we are 23 years later and spending a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Muddled Dice. Today's International Learn to Homebrew Day. We're at Jay's Home Brewing Supplies in Manassas, Virginia. We're gonna walk around and see if we can talk to some newbies and some seasoned pros, see what they have to say. What brings you out here today?
Well, I've been extract brewing for about 18 months.
Okay.
I support the store. I get advice, I get supplies, and I just started grain brewing.
Okay.
And I had my first attempt and it was a total failure. So I need to need to learn. Oh yeah. So I need to learn some things.
Okay. What made it a failure?
It was too watery. It didn't taste right. I usually, even with the extract kits, usually when I put it in a fermentation, I take a taste to see how it tastes. And this one was like bitter, watery. It was like, okay, there's no recovery. Right.
So you said you've been brewing extract for 18 months?
Yeah, about 18 months.
What's your favorite recipe so far?
Smashing Pumpkin from Northern Brew.
Okay, I know that one. That's a good one.
It's a really good recipe. And then I think it was last year I added additional pumpkin.
Nice.
I had a pumpkin from Halloween. I went online, figured out how to roast it, and then I roasted it and then added it to the grains and stuff to add more pumpkin flavor. It turned out pretty good.
Hey, so we're back here with Thomas from Jay's Home Brewing. So what's happening here today?
Oh man, this is a great event. So this is the annual Learn to Homebrew Day.
Okay.
So we just get everybody from the community out to brew if they want, or maybe just see about the hobby. We've got members of local homebrew clubs, and just really just an all-around good time for everybody to get together and brew.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I see you've got a brew kettle going. What are you making today?
Great question. So a little demo. I kind of shrunk down my equipment today just to keep things simple. But that's going to be an extract pale ale. Okay. Yep. Some Centennial and I think Centennial Columbus. If I'm trying to look over there, but yeah. Pretty simple recipe.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the process going to be?
So great question. We're gonna basically make tea with our specialty grains.
Okay.
We're gonna do that for about 20 minutes, and then we'll bring the heat up to a boil. Okay. And add our malt extract. Once the malt extract comes back to a boil, we'll add our hops, and then there's a couple of different rounds of hops that we'll add. And then after that, we'll chill it down and pitch it into the fermenter with some yeast and let it sit.
We're brewing a Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale clone.
Oh, okay.
Right now we're steeping some grain. Okay. It's going to be steeped at about 158 degrees for half an hour. After that, we will add the extract. We're using extract today because it's a little easier than all grain on site. Yeah. And after we add the extract, we will be adding some hops, and we have a hop schedule. Okay. The hops will be added at certain times during the boil. Right. We're going to boil, I think, for this beer about 30 minutes, a good rolling boil. At intervals during that 30 minutes, we'll add different hops. Okay. And that'll bring us to where we want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a Sierra Nevada Celebration clone. Okay. And we're doing it for the club. We're going to be brewing this today and passing it out as a gift for the members of our club. Right now, just did a pumpkin pie ale. Ooh, nice. Which is not really good. I used all all of the ingredients were fresh. The nutmeg and the spices that go into it, I used fresh ingredients. So
nice.
It turned out really good. I think.
You use real pumpkin, not like canned pumpkin?
No, I actually used canned pumpkin.
Okay.
I used 9 pounds of pumpkin puree.
Ooh, wow.
I wanted to use the fresh pumpkin, but they weren't really in season when I started doing the recipe.
Hey, we're here with Carl, Al, and Dean from the Prince William Brewers Guild. You guys want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure. I'm president of the Prince William Brewers Guild. We've been around for about 5 years. 5 years now?
5 years.
About 5 years now. Meet mostly out in the Woodbridge area, the eastern end of the county, but anybody can come and join us. Usually meet at somebody's house, share some home brews. We have competitions in the guild. Our last one was a brown ale. And then we have like chili cook-offs and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
It's just about camaraderie,
Yeah.
getting together, enjoying some beers.
How can people find out more about it, or like where meetings are or anything?
Our Facebook page, Prince William Brewers Guild, will have information about the upcoming meetings, the times, where they're going to be. It's usually the third Saturday of the month.
Okay.
A 2-hour meeting, 3-hour meeting, and it's an opportunity for us to share the beers that we brew, and even to bring interesting commercial beers.
Okay.
And what people should know is that in order to come to a meeting or to enjoy a meeting, you don't have to be a brewer. You don't have to bring beer. You could just be a beer lover.
Okay.
And so it's fun. It's fun.
Also do trips once in a while. We do brew tours, set them up, and special events. Try to do them at least once a month, but sometimes a little longer. Just set up things for us to get out and do something out of the, out of the ordinary, and just do get together at different breweries, brew crawls. So, like I said, brew tours at different breweries around the area. So we do other stuff besides just brew beer. We also
So you don't just gather at someone's house and drink beer?
no, not all the time.
Often, but not always.
Yeah.
Right. So what are you brewing here today?
I'm going to make an English pale ale,
Okay.
some Maris Otter, a little bit of amber malt, and some Crystal 60. And then it's a single hop with U.S. Goldings.
Okay. Nice. So what's your process here?
So what I'm doing now is I'm heating up mash water, and I'm going to try to heat the water high enough so that I can hold a mash of like 152 degrees in this cooler.
Okay.
Then we're going to heat some boiling water up after an hour mash. We're going to add boiling water to make everything hotter to get it out to mash out. It's 170 degrees. And then we'll begin the sparge out.
Cool. So how long have you been homebrewing?
I've been homebrewing on and off since 1994.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you get started?
I read an ad in a newspaper. It said, buy your own homebrewing equipment.
Okay.
And it was like an hour drive from my parents' house. And off I went.
Nice.
And I came home with some extract and, was hooked ever since.
Nice. Have you, over the years, developed any kind of like trademark techniques or like a favorite ingredient you go back to every time?
My favorite ingredient would be a little bit of flaked oats.
Okay.
Because the oats have some protein.
Right.
And it gives it a real nice mouthfeel and a ridiculous head retention. So my advice to people brewing, add about 8 ounces of flaked oats, just plain old flaked oats like Quaker oats. Put that into your mash, and you'll have really good head retention. It's almost like comical lacing.
Cool. Are you adding it to your brew today?
I'm not putting it in this beer because the English typically don't put oats in their beer, but I could. But
Trying to stick to the style guidelines today?
Stick to the style, yeah.
Okay.
Downright Obsessed Homebrewers is based in the Manassas area. We have about 60 active members. We meet right here at Jay's.
Oh, okay.
Second Wednesday every month. We have a Facebook page, Downright Obsessed Homebrewers. Easy to remember. We also have a web page. I can't remember. DOHnova.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So how long have you been homebrewing?
15 years.
15 years. Nice. You have any like little tricks or trademark ingredients you developed over the years?
Well, there's a lot of tricks you get, not ingredients, but
Okay.
no, but little tricks I've learned where, I take that brew in a bag concept and I put that in my mash tun, so it extra filter
Nice.
to help clean up. You just pick the bag up and dump the grains. But
Cool.
yeah, so I started with Little Mr. Beer kit, graduated to extract, then partial mash, and now I do all grain. So
Cool. So what's your name?
My name's Mitch.
And what are you doing out here today?
So I ordered a new kettle. I'm upgrading my brew system.
Okay.
So I'm currently doing the 5-gallon propane batches. So I'm in the process of upgrading to 10-gallon batches, going all electric.
Cool. How long have you been homebrewing?
I did my first batch in 1995.
Okay. Nice.
So I've been doing it quite a while.
How'd you get started?
So I had a friend. So I was in the Air Force, and I had a friend that got a kit for a birthday or Christmas anyway. He didn't want it, so I said I'll take it. And typical how everyone starts, the little bucket with a little can of extract and the dried yeast that it came with, and here we are 23 years later and spending a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah. Have you developed any affinities towards a favorite ingredient or recipe or technique over the past 20 years?
So, you look back and I don't think I made big changes since then, but then you think back to when you first started, and gradually over that time period, I've changed a lot. And I like to try a lot of new recipes, new styles. It's hard to say you have a favorite, right? Like they always say, it's hard to pick your favorite child, right?
Right.
Hard to pick a favorite recipe. Depends what you're in the mood for, time of year, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But right now, on tap at home, I'm at the very end of my Oktoberfest, which is one of my favorites I do every year. I got a Dunkelweizen on tap.
Cool.
And let's see, I have just a standard pale ale in the fermenter, and got ingredients for a Czech Pilsner and a porter on the way.
What are you going to break in the new kettle with?
Oh, good question. Good. I haven't even thought about that. It'll probably be something simple and cheap, because chances are all screwed up, right? So that's I haven't figured that out yet, but probably something cheap.
All right. What was your name?
Steven.
And you're the vice president of DOH?
DOH, Downright Fest Homebrewers. Yep.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we're a club that started about 7 or 8 years ago. We originally were based out of Bristow, and now we're mainly in Gainesville, Manassas, Bristow. Some Dumfries, Woodbridge people come up. Gone probably about 50 or 60 strong now.
Wow.
Meet here at Jay's actually second Wednesday of every month at 7 o'clock. So people are more than welcome to come out, try beer, have free food. Kind of like the best, cheapest social club in the area.
Right. Cool. And how long have you been homebrewing?
I've been homebrewing for about 4 years.
4 years?
Yep.
Okay, cool. How'd you get started?
Actually, I bought a Mr. Beer kit.
Nice.
Came out okay. I knew I could do better.
Yeah.
So actually, a friend of mine was moving, didn't have room for all of his equipment, asked me to babysit it. While I was at it, I gave it a shot and came out a lot better.
Nice.
So eventually I found DOH, and they kind of honed my skills. So it's gotten a lot better since meeting these guys.
Cool. You have any, over the past few years, developed any trademark techniques, favorite recipes, favorite ingredients?
I don't know if my techniques are really trademark versus anyone else's, but I've got a couple recipes that I like that I don't really see a lot of. I make a chai milk stout that I really enjoy.
Oh, that sounds good.
Well, I don't like pumpkin beers, so I figure if I'm going to make a fall beer, I went a different direction. Went chai. Yeah. I've started getting a little more into lagers like Schwartz beers and Czech Pils, so I've been having a little fun with that. But my favorite recipes tend to be the dark ones, some stouts and porters, things like that. So
cool. Do you have any advice because I know lagering can be more difficult with the temperature control. Do you have any advice for people trying to get into lagering, coming from making ales?
Well, I mean, if you don't have a solution like a fridge, you can usually actually get a fridge off Craigslist for about $50. And then you can get it's called an Inkbird temperature controller for about another $30. It's a pretty reasonable price to get into it. If that's something you can't do, you can certainly wait until the winter months, put it out in the garage, and it's a little less consistent temperature-wise. But if you want, I know one of the gentlemen here, Chris, really likes. It's called a fermentosaurus. What it actually does is it ferments under pressure. So you can get a pressure lager yeast, which will ferment at 65, 70 degrees, but still be just as clear and clean as an actual lager.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really neat feature of that.
So I'm Alex.
And what are you doing out here today?
So this is National Learn to Homebrew Day, so I'm out here just showing off an extract recipe for hazelnut porter.
Nice, cool. So how long have you been homebrewing?
Just about a year now, started last January.
Okay. So very new. Are you still doing extract? You got plans to move on to like all grain someday?
So it's funny because my first extract recipe actually won a gold medal in a competition, and I felt I was just going to stay that way for a while, but I did switch, and I'm doing brew in a bag now. For all grain.
Cool.
About 2 recipes in.
Do you have a favorite technique or recipe that you've developed over the past year?
So yes, the first one I did a wee heavy that just everyone loved, and I got a 39 in my first competition. I felt pretty happy about that. But I did an experimental recently. It's an imperial wit beer. So that was pretty neat. Because I dry hopped it, and so to dry hop it, I got Waimea hops, which are kind of a delicacy to find.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it came out as just this insanely smooth beer. I've had friends try it and they go, "Wait, how strong is this?" Because no, it's 7.5%. And it basically tastes like a 4.5% session.
Wow. So what's your process for today going to be?
So today is a partial mash. So I'll be steeping about 1.5 pounds of, it's got ADL, which is caramel malt, pale chocolate, and black patent malt. That'll steep for 30 minutes at about 165. Those will come out, and then use extracts from there to top off, and then it'll boil for about an hour before it's ready to actually go into the fermenter.
That's it for Learn to Brew Day 2018. Big thank you to Jill and Thomas of Jay's Brewing Supplies for inviting us out, to the guys from Downright Obsessed Home Brewing and the Prince William Brewers Guild, and everyone else who talked to us. You made the day a lot of fun. Thanks everyone, and good night.